Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Oh, someday I wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. Oh, that's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow, and why, oh, why can't I? Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, those bluebirds fly. If them bluebirds fly over the rainbow, then why, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why can't I, oh, why can't I? Thank you.
Close your eyes. You see Bobbye? What do you see? Do you see how she smiles with her whole face? Do you see that? Her whole face smiles. I don't even hear her laugh all the time, but I see that smile, the whole face smile. I don't remember, and so pretend the front row doesn't hear this, but I don't remember ever seeing her angry. So front row's laughing. They're not supposed to laugh at that. But I remember that smile. I can remember her serious, but I remember that smile. So how many people here know her because you play bridge with her? They're sitting in the back. That's not a good sign. How many people know her because they were at synagogue with her here, B'nai Zion? How many people know her because they had every single birthday with her for 91 years? Almost. You didn't have 91. We have people here who've been with her for 91 years. And by the way, that baby who's singing, that's her great-grandbaby. And she got to hold that great-grandbaby. How amazing is that? How many of you got to know your great-grandparents? I mean, what a blessing. What a blessing. So you may know that Bobbye didn't know. We don't know what happens after you die. And as I pointed out at the cemetery, anyone who was raised during the Dr. Brill ages, he taught that there's nothing. He said that your actions now is what matter, and that makes a heaven on earth or a hell on earth. And it could be absolutely nothing. And there are people in this room who grew up with her who are really fine with that. It stresses their friends out to think that there might be absolutely nothing, but they're really fine with that. And Bobbye believed that she was okay. The end was here, and she was okay with there being nothing after. But I have a surprise for Bobbye, and I think she's already figured out. There's something. I feel like the soul is still here. We keep seeing these wonderful signs. The sky was magnificent, or the birds that came and visited, or all these other things. We're seeing signs that her soul is soaring right now. She used to travel the world, but now she's traveling the world. But she's also right here with us. I have an apology to make for some people. Welcome, by the way, to anyone, especially if it's your first time at B'nai Zion. But if you're expecting to hear a lot of Hebrew, I'm sorry to say that I'm honoring Bobbie's wishes. She was allergic to Hebrew, like many of the people who grew up during Dr. Brill's time, and so I'm only going to use a very little Hebrew, the littlest that I can. So I have chosen readings that are all in English for you, for her. And I choose readings that I think really are meaningful. And I'm going to tell you, there better not be anybody who's upset with that singing. I love that singing because that's what it's about. That shows that memory is a blessing and her life lives on. And I bet when she was that old, she was crying at services too. I'm not going to lie. Gather the stars, if you wish it so. Gather the songs and keep them. Gather the faces of people. Gather for keeping years and years. And then loosen your hands and let go and say goodbye. Let the stars and the songs go. Let the faces and the years go. Loosen your hands and say goodbye. It was Bobbie's time to say goodbye. She kept telling us that. But that doesn't mean that we have to let go. We get to hold on to the memories. And there were so many memories. I mean, look around at this room. We are not going to be able to honor someone's memory who lived 91 really full and wonderful years. So make sure you see the people in this room have some really good stories. So I hope you keep telling each other stories. I don't know that you're going to remember anything that we say today. That's what happens sometimes. It's kind of a blur, and it's okay. We're kind of in suspended animation. We're in a place where we can't believe she's gone and remembering at the same time. Sometimes, though, I try to have you remember when it happened, and that helps. And so on the Jewish calendar, for example, we're in the middle of this Omer period where we count from Passover, we count 7 times 7 weeks. And after the 7 weeks are over, we get to a holiday that's called weeks, Shavuot, that was Hebrew. And it is one of the most amazing times of all of history, and it's just 1 week away. And so I hope that you remember that as you anticipate things in life, that you remember Bobbie. It's going to be hard to have holidays without her, but she's going to be here. She's here. And it's because of her that we got to celebrate the holidays anyway. The holiday, by the way, is that we stand and we receive, we start our covenant with God. Synagogue was really important to her. I don't know that the rituals and things were important. I don't know that the laws were important to her, but she loved being Jewish, and she loved coming here, and she loved seeing the people, and she loved helping. We have generations and generations, I mean decades and decades and decades of people. If you look when you go down the hall, down to Lefkowitz Hall to meet with the family after the service, and you see all of those confirmation pictures on the wall, there's over 100 years there. She didn't do all of them, but she did decades and decades and decades of the calligraphy on the certificates. I'm not going to lie. Next week is confirmation, and then we have a bat mitzvah, and she didn't do the calligraphy for those. And she's not going to get to do the calligraphy. And I feel sad. I feel brokenhearted until I remembered that there are all those generations of kids who have them on there. The wedding licenses, the wedding invitations, the baby announcements. She was there for all of that. And if you have one, you treasure it. If you don't have one, somebody near you has one, and they're saving it forever, and it was gorgeous. When we created the handouts, I hated the font that was on there because it wasn't Bobbie's writing. I hated it. So there will be a time, many months down the line, when we won't hate other fonts anymore. We'll just see them. But for now, I miss that it's not Bobbie's fonts. The other thing that I was thinking about, which may mean less than some of that, but this past week we were reading in the Torah about having to take a break every 7 years. That if we were farmers, our land would just have to, we weren't allowed to use it. We were allowed to pluck whatever was there, but we weren't allowed to harvest it. And I am not a farmer, but I have to try to imagine what it was like. And it's scary to me to imagine not farming my land. How am I going to eat? What am I going to do? And God said, don't worry, I've got you. I'm going to make sure you've got enough. And I want to believe that that was true, and I want to believe that it was always true. But it reminds me of what it's like to try to live without Bobbye around. How are we going to do that? I don't know how we're going to do that. But one of the things that we learned from the Torah is that we did. We accomplished it. That even if you're like me and it's not a farm and all you've got is like plants at the house and we can't leave the corners because they're just as brown as the centers. It's not going to help anybody. We can't leave our corners of our field so that the poor can gather from them. But we could be like Bobbye. Bobbye left the corners, but they were the corners of her time. There was money. She gave of herself. And we can do that. And we can know that even when we go without, life still goes on. And it's because she taught us how to live life to the fullest that we get to continue and live life to the fullest. I am sorry, Bobbye, but I think you're right here. And I think you get to come on the rest of this journey with us. And it's thanks to the lessons you taught us that this journey is amazing. And we appreciate that. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we will remember her. In the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of the sun, we will remember her. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we're going to remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live, because she's now part of us as we remember her. She has grandchildren, even great-grandchildren, but the grandchildren, 2 grandchildren, have asked to speak today. You ready? You're not ready. Michael goes first.
Hey everybody.
Hey Michael.
I'm happy everyone could be here today. I loved Grandma Bobbye a lot. I prepared some words, but I didn't like them, so I was just going to speak freely. When I think of Grandma Bobbye, I think of her big squinting smile on her face, and even to the last day that I saw her, that smile was there. She was so peaceful, and I feel lucky to have had her in my life. I moved to this city so that I could get to have her in my life, and every moment I got to have with her was worth it. It was puzzles, it was movies or luncheons. They were always special. I'd try and come up with a question. Sometimes she cared about it, sometimes she didn't. But she would let you know, she'd go, okay. She was a delight, though, always, and always a character, and so much herself, and I loved that about her, that she wasn't ever trying to be anybody that she wasn't, and she would let you know her opinions and her her observations, but I feel like, I don't know, like there's like I got to have a little bit of a cut of the same stone of her. There's that artistic touch that she had. Even if she called it practice, she was an artist, and a very, very talented one. And then it was always so nice to sit in the office with her. I'd be drawing on the printer paper, tearing off the like little dots on the sides, and then she would be at her desk working on calligraphy. I really loved those moments growing up. So very, very, very happy to have had her in my life. And her and Papa Herman too, the both of them. I'm so happy they can be together, and want to let y'all go now. Thank you.
Get to keep telling stories forever. Yep, we can make this here. How's that?
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, cool. I thought the words would just kind of come to me, but I have a few notes, so we're good.
Move it to the mouth, sorry.
Thank you. God, I love my grandma so much. She's just a very genuine, real, just a great all-around person. Also very, as Michael said, she tells it like it is. And she was always very entertaining. Some words that she's said, I can just still hear in my head in her exact voice. I just wanted to share a couple of my favorite stories. Starting with pretty much the day I was born, Grandma called everybody and told them my name was Janie. It's Jamie with an M. Until she called my Aunt Roseanne, or Cousin Roseanne, and she said, "Are you sure it's Janie? I think it's Jamie with an M." And she goes, "Oh no, it's Janie." And so after a little back and forth, she called my mom, and Mom goes, "No, it's Jamie." And she goes, "Well, can you change it? I've already told all of Shreveport." So, although I don't remember all of that, it's still always one of my favorite stories. But just getting to know my grandma, I've spent so much time with her over the years. She used to take us on cruises, and she's taken me to Israel, and we're supposed to go to Las Vegas for my birthday to see Lady Gaga, but she actually, she was trying on shoes and she ended up falling and getting a little hairline fracture. So my mom took her place, but she was very excited, and I'm still glad I got to go with my mom. But one time we were on a cruise, and I was looking for someone, so just kind of walking around to the room, seeing if anyone was in there. And her door was latched open, like a hotel room kind of. And I walked in, but the lights were all off. And I was like, "Is anyone in here? Grandma, are you in here?" And she was napping. And when she heard me, she popped out of bed and said, "Is it time to party?" I can still hear those words, you know, in my head. Just things she said over the years. We were in Belgium having a beer with my husband, and my mom and I and Grandma had already finished our beers, and Michael still had about half of his beer. And my grandma looks at everyone and she says, "My, I never seen someone drink a beer so slow." And to this day, Michael still hears it in his head, and he does not drink beer slowly anymore. Those are just some of the things I wanted to share. She was just such a wonderful lady, and I just miss her and love her so much already. Thank you.
You have your memories. Keep telling the stories. We take a moment of silence to try to remember. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. I was allowed to sing that one because that was her favorite. So, in order to continue in a traditional service, but without any Hebrew, we read the psalm that is on the back of your handout in English, in Old English. This is how we all hear these things. We read together, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Some things she liked traditionally, and some things she was really good at being brave for new things. This is the prayer that sends the soul on its next adventure. I'm going to say this in Hebrew, but I'll say it in English as well. אל מלא רחמים שוכן במרומים, חמסי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, הם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת אורה בת יצחק, that was her name in Hebrew, שהלכה לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרו בצורה חיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן. Her name in Hebrew is Ora Bat Yitzchak. Ora means light. Bat Yitzchak is the one who smiles, the one who laughs, and I just love that as a memory for her. I like this translation of that. May the source of life, the fountain of all being, open our hearts to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace and sadness the way of all things. May Bobbie's memory be for us a blessing. May we never let the light of her love grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all her worthy and righteous deeds, that her memory be forever bound up in the bond of life. God is our source and our destination, our beginning and our end. May Bobbie's death awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared and share not be severed in sorrow. May we rest in peace. And we say, Amen. That's the point. The point of funerals is supposed to be to remember and to know how to move forward. That we get to move forward. We get to live life. May we each have the vision to see that embedded in each of your life is a core of eternity, undiminished and bright, an eternity that survives the dread hours of affliction. Those we've loved, though now beyond our view, have given form and quality to our lives and to our very being. They've led us into the wide universe that we continue to inhabit, and their presence is more real to us than their absence. What we have received, O God, you don't take away, and bounties granted once shed their radiance evermore. May I always have the gift of remembering. May my memories of Bobbye be tender and true, undiminished by time. Let me recall them and love them as they were. Shelter me with the gift of tears. Let me express my sense of loss, my sorrow, my pain, as well as my love, and words that are unspoken. Strengthen us with the gift of hope. May we always believe in the beauty of life, the power of goodness, the right to joy. May we surrender our very beings and the soul of Bobbye to God's all-knowing compassion. And we say these words to the mourners. Repeat after me. May God console you with all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. Now go forth in peace to life. We hope that you join us in Lefkowitz Hall, which is down the hall. You can go this way with no stairs and that way with stairs, and join us as we visit with the family and tell some good stories. I want to hear some. Thank you for being here. We have one more song, actually. Hey guys, we have one more song. What? These were two of her favorite songs, except for that Hebrew one that was one of her favorite songs in Hebrew. I forgot we had one more. We picked only her favorites. Thank you. I forgot about this. You got it? Is microphone on? It's still mute. Ready, go. Yeah, you got to do this after me. Ha.
Hello, everyone. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. Well, I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself,